want to know what's happening in sport? Tune into On the Ball, a weekly talk show which is on Win FM 98.9 every Tuesday from 7 to 9 p.m. with me, your host, Troy Biff Mills. We will keep you on the ball with our variety of guests and, of course, your calls, discussing the facts and the stats and sharing your opinions. Get on the ball and stay on the ball by tuning into On the Ball with Troy Biff Mills on Win FM 98.9 every Tuesday night from 7 to 9 p.m. and also on Facebook and YouTube. Be on the ball. Good evening, St. Kitts and Nevis. Good evening to everyone in the Leeward Islands, the OECS. Good evening to the Caribbean. Hey, while we're at it, we might as well say good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night to you, wherever you are in your part of the world. Welcome to another edition of On the Ball here at Win FM 98.9. I am Troy Biff Mills, your host, and it is my pleasure to be with you again this evening, and I thank you very much for joining us. You have many choices. You could have been doing something else. You could have been listening to another station, but you chose to listen us here at Win FM 98.9, and we give you thanks, and we say thank you very much for that. We really appreciate it. Well, before we get into it, again, we say happy birthday to those persons who are celebrating today. Happy birthday in advance to those who are celebrating between now and next week, Tuesday. And happy belated birthday to those who would have celebrated between last week, Tuesday, and yesterday. And indeed, we say condolences to those persons who are mourning, having suffered the loss of someone today, and the last few days between last week, Tuesday, and today, and or even further back. And we're remembering the late Alfonso Bridgewater, who was laid to rest last week, Friday. I attended the funeral, and it was indeed, it wasn't a funeral, it wasn't a funeral service, it was a celebration of life. You didn't get that funeral-y thingy about the whole feeling. It was joyous, for want of a better word, having heard of the legacy, the life, and how Bridges would have touched a lot of persons. And it's sad to say, but I enjoyed the funeral. It's funny saying something about something that sad, but I really enjoyed it. And it was a joyous moment. And of course, there would have been a little second here or two when some tears, a drop of tear of 2 or 5 would have fallen from the eyes, especially when Friday night, the now acting president of the SKNOC, he was reading the tribute to about Bridges, and he said one or two things that caused a tear or to say Jamston. Some persons, well, the place was a little warm, and some persons was smart. They took out their rags and they were wiping their foreheads and wipe the eyes at the same time, so nobody could see. And I'm not going to tell you I was one of them at all. I'm not going to tell you that, Jamster, because he had some touching moments. But the great Bridges has gone, and it was a wonderful ceremony. We had quite a few persons, like according to what the GenSec and the contingent from the SKNS would have said last week, Tuesday, on the program, persons from all over the Caribbean. And there was an old umpiring colleague of mine, Billy Doctrove of Dominica. He is one of the members of the regional national Olympic committees that would have attended, and it was really a wonderful thing. And after that, there was a dinner at Carambola, and the dinner went down well. Indeed, I enjoyed it. The only three times I would have eaten meals anything better than that is when my mother cook, when my sister cook, and when I cook. So it really went now. Jamster watching me. They kind of look, what? I doubt if you could boil water good. Good night, Jamster, my producer. How are you? They have a faithful good night to Daddy T. And how are you doing? So hope all is well. And why, Jamster, when it comes to Sandy Point, it looks like we'll be on a roll. When we have deaths, we have 3, 4, 5, 6. Right now, we're up to 8 straight over the last couple of weeks. And including is my uncle, the late Austin Weeks. He worked at the factory for quite a few years, I think from school to quite a few. And then he was the general manager at at Simaco. And then he was a general manager at Kraft House as well from 2013, 14, 12. Until about 2018, I can't remember. So he passed on Sunday. So I say condolences to all my family members. And it therefore means then that the only surviving aunt or uncle on my mother's side is my uncle Neville Weeks, or Manny Weeks as they call him. He played cricket for St. Kitts. Played for St. Kitts and Nevis Youth. As I would have mentioned last week, that he played with Bridges. And he was the one who suggested to me to push for Bridges being a national hero. And it would be nice to see Bridges be a national hero for the work he would have done. The government would have afforded him an official funeral. And they must be commended highly. Prime Minister Joe and his cabinet must be commended highly for affording Bridges that mark of distinction. And so Neville Weeks is my only living uncle, maternal uncle from my mother's side. And I would have lost another uncle in February, Leonard Weeks. So having lost 2 uncles in 2 months, that is something. But we still have to give thanks because this morning I heard a funeral announcement for a 31-year-old and also a 41-year-old. So we got to give thanks for that. And while we're speaking of funeral, condolences to the family of the late Adrian. He was a former board member at Tucan as well, leader of the Tucan band. And he was now dealing with Tucan Sounds, Adrian Lamb. And the condolences to his family and especially Richard Berridge, who is the chairman of the board here at WinFM 98.9, and his family. We say condolences to them, and Adrian would be laid to rest Thursday, God's spear. Any special arrangements, Jamster, in terms of WinFM and operating hours and staff attending? No doubt you would be very much well attended in your numbers. I will be there, in essence, in a few capacities. One, as I'm attached with WinFM and on the ball every Tuesday night from 7 to 9. 2, I would have worked with him a bit in the music field. 3, I dare say we were friends. We spoke music, we spoke culture. And one thing I liked about Adrian as a sound engineer, completely different to a lot of others. He comes, he's listening, he's setting a show, Calypsonian, whatever. And he listens 30 seconds and then you see him do some adjustment and that's the end of it. You don't see him put his hand near those buttons again, Jamster. Unlike other sound engineers, every 30 seconds, they put their hand over a thing. And I'm convinced when they put their hand over, they don't do anything. They turn it, but they don't touch the knob to make it look like they're doing something, which I consider, well, something is wrong if every 30 seconds you have to make an adjustment. And you keep doing that all night. Something got to be wrong. But maybe it's me, maybe I just don't understand how sound engineer operates. But it's just my humble view. And I tired, look at Adrian. You see him come, he listen, he stand up, boom, he said something and he gone. And when the next artist come, he comes and he listens again. And if he needs to, he makes another adjustment. And I really liked Tucan Band, the band that he was the leader of. And if I'm not mistaken, 1 year, out of the 8 finalists for the Calypso Monarch show, they had about 5 or 6. and they didn't have horns. Star Shield, Contender. I don't remember if Monarch was with them, but they had 5 or 6 guys, Ranger, I believe. And I'm thinking, these guys ain't gonna brass. How come you could have 6, but the quality of the music, man? And I always like to hear them. And he's gonna be a tremendous loss to the music and the cultural landscape, the creative economy. And the condolences to him, to his family, at home and abroad. And encourage everybody to come out to the funeral at the St. George's Anglican Church. I think it's going to be the 1st, which is day after tomorrow. No, today is tomorrow. Is Wednesday? Oh, yes, why is Wednesday? Why, Jams, there's something wrong with me, boy? I tag in Thursday as the 1st, why? Good thing you talk. Otherwise, I might miss the funeral. Today is the 30th. Tomorrow is the 1st, yes, Jamster. And according to what I said, no doubt the streaming, the link for the stream will come out subsequently. Please join us to celebrate the life of Adrian Lamb, June 6, 1958 to April 21st, 2024. That makes him about 66 or something thereabouts. May 1st, 2024 at 2 p.m. St. George's Anglican Church, Kearn Street, St. Kitts. I'm encouraging everybody to come out. Adrian was just a heck of a human being. Heck of a musician, heck of a human being. He was just awesome. And again, condolences to his family. Now, what are we having tonight? Hopefully we have an interesting program for you as usual. We're going to be having at 7:30 or thereabout, Mr. Dark Brown. Dark is his name, not an adjective describing his color. D-A-R-C. He is the tournament director for the Cool and Smooth T20, which is happening right now in St. Kitts and Nevis. They're coming down to the end of the league stage. They're about to get into the round robin, the semi-finals, etc. And so he's going to be telling us a little bit about that. And then at 8 o'clock, we're going to be having Zeke Percival, of the president of the St. Kitts Cricket Golf, the St. Kitts Golf Club. And he is going to be telling us about some golfing news. So stick and stay. Don't go away. And we're going to be hearing from those in a little bit. But let's get right into the crack of things. And where do we start off, Jamster? Do we start off with football? Yes, why not? And we're at the end of the first round in the football, Jamster. And all kind of things happening in the first round. But let's jam some results on you from the weekend. Well, Thursday 25th, last week I should say, we had the finals of the Elvis Star Browns Women's President's Cup. Let me rephrase that. The inaugural Elvis Star Browns Women's President's Cup, the finals. We had that at Warner Park. And Ellie had a song, coming from me corner, come back from me corner, take back me corner, whatever. And that was the case where last year's champions, Montreal Farm Clean Rights United Old Lady Jets, they took on last year's losing finalists or second place, Honda Newtown United. Or put another way, it was a replay of the last year finals. Halftime, United Honda Newtown, they were up 1-0, and the score ended 2-1 in favor of former champions regaining their championship, Honda Newtown United. We had Kezik Boyles. She put a ball in the Old Onion bag just on the stroke of halftime in the 45th minute. And when persons thought it was going to end like that, the Lencia Roberts, she equalized in the 90th minute from the penalty mark, 1-1. And then going into extra time, Caitlin Forbes, she gave Newtown the lead in the 109th minute, and that is the way it ended. Honda Newtown United, the Elvis Star Brown, the inaugural Elvis Star Brown's Women's President's Cup champion. Congratulations to Honda Newtown United. Shanda Wilkinson, she was in the middle. Tyra Wilkinson, Junico Matthew, they were on the lines, all FIFA officials. And Michaela Dillion Sergio, the fourth official. Referee assessor was Kenny Martin. General coordinator was Shanwa Broadbelt. And then on into the Premier League, National Bank Group of Companies Premier League at Warner Park. Development Bank, St. Peter's, and Sol Island Otto Connery played 2-2 draw. Halftime 1-0 in favor of St. Peter's. And that was compliments Kareem Simmons in the 19th minute. And they went up 2-0 in the 70th minute. St. Peter's compliments Makonnen Gums with Javon Matthew pulling one back in the 79th minute from the penalty mark. And 4 minutes later in the 83rd minute, he equalized it from the penalty mark. Again, 2 penalties Jamster within 4 minutes. I don't know, boy. That doesn't tell a good story of perhaps the Newtown team. And that is how it ended, 2-0. And on Saturday 27th, the first of a doubleheader, Honda Newtown United, they took care of business against a really, really struggling, extremely struggling Skellig Trafalgar South Stars, 2-1. With South Stars scoring in the 4th minute. Compliments a Kanya Samuel, the Kari Phillip. He put a ball in the old onion bag for Newtown in the 9th minute. Just 5 minutes later, 1-1. And it stayed that way. The end of first half into second half, almost the end of the game. And Johannes Mitchum gave Honda Newtown all 3 points in the 88th minute. And in the second game, Montreal Farms, Clean Rights United, Old Road Jets, they locked horns with Hot Springs Bath United. And at halftime, it was 0-0, and that is the way it stayed until the final whistle. And both teams walking away with a point each. And Jamster, I made a prediction at the start of the season, and I'm still sticking to my prediction. I expect to see one or both of these teams in the Final Four. So it means then that some big team ain't going to make the Final Four in Petition Twang. And if we go now, well, before we go to the points on Sunday 28th, Division 1. Well, now let's do Premier first. Rams Village Superstars. They couldn't get the better of Skellig Garden Hotspurs 1-1. Wow. Skellig Garden Hotspurs at this point facing relegation square in the face, squeezing a point from the defending champions. That could be good for them. Kimari Rogers, he gave Rams Village Superstars the lead in the 21st minute, and Steve Archibald broke even in the 58th minute, second half for Spurs. That's how it ended. Match 2, St. Paul's United, SL Horsford St. Paul's United coming up against Flo 4G Kearn Rockets, 2 former champions. And SL Horsford St. Paul's going down the first time, losing a match in the Premier League for this season. They went down after being 1-1 halftime. They lost 2-1 to Kearn. And they took the lead, Kalonji Clark for SL Horsford St. Paul's in the 7th minute. Devonte Catty, he pulled one back in the 9th minute, 2 minutes later. 1-1 went into halftime. And Tyreek Davis, he gave Fluff-Oji Rockets all 3 points in the 80th minute. There was a red card for Petrus Williams of St. Paul's in the 23rd minute. So, wow, St. Paul's playing basically a half and a quarter, a half and a half. So that's 3 quarters of the game. with 9 men, 10 men jamster. And that is how it was. If you look at the points tables now, we have Trafalgar South Stars. They have a perfect record of losses, that is. They've played 9 and they've lost all 9. Something in keeping with Trafalgar South Stars. And a reminder, there are 10 teams in the Premier League. There are 2 rounds of matches. All teams have completed the first round. So we're halfway through a little less halfway through the Premier League. And so they're yet to score points. Kellett Garden Hotspurs in the 9th place. They have 6 points from 1 win, 3 drawn matches, 5 losses. In the 8th position, Seoul Island Otto Connery flirting with relegation there at this point. 10 points from their 2 victories, 4 drawn matches, 3 losses. Honda Newtown United, one may say flirting, but maybe just the flirt as opposed to flirting. They are one of 2 teams on 13 points and they find themselves in 7th position. 4 victories, 1 drawn match, 4 losses. They have a goal difference of -3, 10 goals for, 13 goals against. Hot Springs Bath United, also on 13 points, but they're in 6th position, complements a better goal difference. Also having 1-4 drawn, 1 lost, 4. They've scored 9 goals and they've relinquished 10. So they have a -10. Newtown, they've scored 10 and they've given up 13. In 5th position, just flirting outside with the top 4, Development Bank St. Peter's. One of 2 teams on 14 points. They are in 5th, winning 4, drawing 2, losing 3. They have a goal difference of -1 after scoring 9 and giving up 10. And in 4th position, also on 14 points. Montreal Farm, Clean Right United, Old Road Jets, 14 points from 3 victories, 5 drawn matches, 3 losses. They have a goal difference of 5, scoring 18, giving up 13. Scoring 16, giving up 8, a goal difference of 8. The defending champions, at one stage they were way down, but they look like they're getting hard now, so they're standing firm. In 3rd position, they have 16 points from 5 victories, 1 drawn match, 3 losses. They've scored 18, they've given up 10, a goal difference of 8. 2nd position, Flo Forgy and Rockets, from 5 victories, 3 drawn matches, 1 loss, 18 points. They've scored 16, given up 10. And SL Horsford St. Paul's United, notwithstanding that they are out, notwithstanding that they've lost the match, they are out in the lead with 20 points, 2 points ahead from 6 victories, 2 draws, and 1 lost match. And they have 18 goals for, 5 against, a goal difference of 13. So we have 3 teams really being the most offensive. SL Horsford, St. Paul's United, Rams Village Superstars, Development Bank St. Peter's, they're all scoring 18 goals. And the stingiest team in the Premier Division, SL Horsford, St. Paul's United, they've only given up 5. And that has been the case for some time now. Very, very stingy. And we're going to take a pause on football and we're going to go to our guest who has arrived, Mr. Dark Brown. Stick and stay. Don't go away. We will be back in just a second with our first guest of the night, Mr. Dark Brown. Welcome back to On the Ball here at Win FM 98.9. I'm Troy Biff Mills, your host. And On the Ball happens every Tuesday night on 98.9 from 7 to 9 p.m. And you can also follow us on Facebook and also on YouTube as well. And we say thank you for listening to us. You have many choices. You could have chosen to be anywhere. You have chosen to be listening to other stations, but you chose On the Ball here at Win FM 98.9. And I encourage you to come on board and partner with us. Provide sponsorship for the program in whole or in part to allow the program to be brought to you every Tuesday night. We now have a guest in the studio. We'll go straight to Studios 2. And we say good evening, sir. Welcome to On the Ball here at Win FM 98.9.
Good night. Thank you for having me.
Could you let the people know who is with me?
Well, I think you gave me a slight introduction before you took a commercial break, but my name is Dat Brown, and I am the tournament director for the ongoing Cool and Smooth T20 tournament here in St. Kitts.
Yes, I did, but I like people to make sure that the person is here. I'm not trying a thing, so to speak. But who is Dat Brown?
Well, there's a lot that I could say, but I don't want to keep you here all night. So I'll just say that I am a young man from Nevis, first of all, and I am actually currently the strength and conditioning coach and massage therapist for the Leeward Island Hurricanes. And I am a cricket lover, and I am also a very ambitious young man, and somebody who's very optimistic about, bringing positive change in areas of youth development. And like I said, I don't want to keep you here all night, so I'll use those short words to describe who I am.
Persons may not know, but you're the son of former strength and fitness trainer Virgil Brown.
Yes, I am.
For the Leeward Islands and West Indies.
Yeah, never worked with Leeward Islands, but he was with West Indies.
West Indies, correct.
Sometime, yes.
And I understand that you're following his footsteps. Why? What caused you to do that?
Well, I think in life it's easier to, get mentorship from inside a household than to have to go out and seek it. And for all my life, I've been around cricket in some capacity. I can remember very young going and watching my dad play, as he used to play for Leeward Islands as well. But I think, I know I wanted to help people. I wasn't sure in what capacity that would be, but, I ended up being where I am. And I also used to play cricket, but again, I think just recognizing that you could make a lot more, beneficial acts towards people, I think that really just drew me to where I am today.
Now, you've gone from the playing and watching your dad to the tournament director for the Cool and Smooth T20 tournament, which is happening here in St. Kitts for the first time, the inaugural.
Yes. I think, I'm here in that capacity, but I can't make it seem like it's just me. I have a very good team behind me, and I think that, although I'm the only one here in studio tonight, this is the effort of a number of different people.
Could you give us an idea of who all involved in making this happen?
There is Dario Batley, who is from Antigua, and he's the CEO of the Cool and Smooth T20 brand. He is also the manager of the St. Kitts Nevis Patriots. Cool and Smooth is a tournament that has been going on in Antigua for the last 10 years. Obviously, this is a World Cup year, and unfortunately, St. Kitts isn't hosting any games, and therefore there was the availability of the venue. This is something that they had in mind for quite some time, but I guess as luck would have it, some might say that we found ourselves we're not hosting any World Cup games, and what better thing to do than to use it as an opportunity to showcase the talent here in St. Kitts and Nevis.
Tell us about Cool and Smooth. What is that?
So Cool and Smooth is actually a sports store in Antigua that the owner, Amir, is very, what's the word I want to use? He's very passionate about creating a platform for athletes, no matter the sport. In Antigua, they host like the track and field meets, they host the football, and then they do a T20 tournament, which has been very successful and has been a sort of springboard for a lot of regional cricketers to get into CPL teams.
Okay, that's wonderful. You did mention, well, that's Dario. He's one of the
Yes.
persons. He's the main person. Have
But-
anybody else working with you?
Yeah, so we have Terrell Wallace, who I have done similar things like this with in the past. Terrell and I, we started a company called Wally Sports Management, where we provide a platform for local cricketers to showcase their talents. That started with something called Friday Night Lights in Nevis, where we, on Fridays, one Friday out of each month, we'd host a T20 game in the El Comido, T. Willett Park. That moved into the hosting of the Sugar Mass Cup about 2 years ago. And that was, sort of, I've never been a witness to a Berridge Howell game. So we wanted to do something in sort of, that memory of what Berridge Howell used to mean to a lot of people here in St. Kitts and Nevis. So we had a St. Kitts versus Nevis T20 game, and we dubbed it the Sugar Mass Cup. Last year, December, we would have hosted something called the Big Six T20 alongside Rashid Eddy. And again, as I said earlier, as fate would have it, we're here hosting the Cool and Smooth T20 tournament in St. Kitts.
The Sugar Mass Cup, I like that idea. And you mentioned the Berridge Howell, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
We're going to see a revival, a resurfacing of
for
that.
Culturama 50.
For Culturama, and the two matches will be played in Nevis.
Yes.
And I think that is a good thing. I had the good fortune of umpiring a few games here in St. Kitts and in Nevis in that tournament. And there was always that stiff rivalry between both countries. You said the Cool and Smooth started 10 years ago.
Yep.
What gave the inspiration to have it started there?
Well, I think
when it did.
When at the time, we all know Antigua has been at the heights of its cricketing powers for quite some time within the Leeward Islands. Antigua actually has a very good club structure, and there's a consistent turnout of international players from Antigua. 10 years ago, I was still very much a child, so in terms of the starting of the tournament there, I don't know what would have motivated it at that point, but what I can say that in terms of in St. Kitts and Nevis, what motivated it was the amount of talent that we have, and I think we've seen small glimpses of that this season, with Mikhail Louis finishing with the most runs in the West Indies Championship, and with Jeremiah Louis finishing with 30 wickets, and we've seen, little snippets of what we have to offer. In previous years, Jeremiah would have finished with a 44 wickets in one season. Sheena Burridge would have finished with the most runs in a Super 50 tournament. We have young Lashawn Bergen, who would have finished the West Indies Rising Under 15 tournament this year with, I think, the third most runs. So second most runs. Thank you for correcting me. And that in itself, that is something to invest in. I think that we have the ability, we have the players, we have the infrastructure, but we just need people to play a part and to recognize that, cricket may not be the most loved sport here in St. Kitts and Nevis now. We see a lot of attention being given to football and these things, but at the end of the day, do we leave it behind? No. Cricket is very much a part of our history, not just here in St. Kitts and Nevis, but as a region. West Indies cricket has brought a lot of joy and happiness to people, and I don't think that St. Kitts should be just a CPL destination. I think people should know that we have the ability to turn out players, and we have the capacity to do more than just that.
Stick up in terms of the Cool and Smooth. You mentioned Lashawn Bergen. Have you seen much of him so far for the T20, and what are your views?
Well, I watched a game last night in which he took his team over the line. He strikes me as a young man with a lot of composure. He strikes me as a young man who understands his limitations as a cricketer, and he definitely strikes me as somebody who is willing to learn and to adapt to whatever situation he finds himself in.
And that's interesting. I was one of the umpires in that game, and it's the first time I was actually seeing him bat, and at one point they had like 40 something balls to get from 36, 40 something runs to get from 36 balls. And he and Russ Powell, was it?
No, not him and Ross Powell. It would have been him and I think Cameron Pennyfeather and
No, Russ out and Cameron came in.
no, Russ isn't playing in this.
Not
tournament.
Russ, okay. Forgive me. But
I could have to look back on it. It would be matches. But yes, regardless of that, just let me get off who he was batting with. He did very well. He took his team over the line. And I think those are the start of opportunities that we need to provide to local players. I don't think that we should wait until players are put on the regional stage for us to support them. We need to support them from here on the ground, and we need to put things in place that allow them to get to where the country can be proud of them and the region can be proud of them.
I was really impressed with his composure, because he's just like 15. Yeah. And when you have senior players, current West Indies players, Archibald, on the field leading the team last night and trying to get under his skin, and he showed no emotion.
Yep.
And I remember Archibald bowled the penultimate over.
Yes. And
he bowled 3 overs in the match and he ran from the short run. But for the last over, he came from the long run.
Yes.
And the bowling to Bergen, I'm there thinking, I wonder if Bergen is intimidated.
Yeah.
He showed no sign of it externally.
Yeah.
And he was able to squeeze, like you say, over. He hit a couple fours in the last few overs there to see his team over the line. So I think he has a lot of promise.
And I think what helps as well is that he was actually batting with former West Indies under-19 opener Anderson Amadan, who would have, been in a similar position where he was young, he was fearless, and he was, very passionate about the game. Still is, and I think that is what we need. We need to have our players playing consistently so that they can learn from other players' experiences. In that dressing room, Lashan will have players like Rakeem Carnwall, Kadeem Phillip. You have players like Cameron Pennyfeather. So I think having the ability to speak to these persons who would have played professional cricket, I think can only help in terms of his development.
And the thing is that he had something like 33 not out from 37 balls, and he also picked up 3 wickets, did he?
Yeah.
And so I think he's a tremendous treasure. But we're getting back to the cool and smooth. Notwithstanding what you said, how long or hard was the debate that let us extend to St. Kitts?
To be honest with you, it wasn't much of a debate. It was an idea that, they were already thinking about doing. I just think that they needed somebody on the ground to give them the little motivation that, hey, we can do this.
And that is where you came in. So what is the plan now with the T20 in St. Kitts as well as that in Antigua?
So what it is now is Cool and Smooth has become the best regional T20 tournament outside of the CPL. And as we may not know because we're here, but Cool and Smooth is actually how players like Kyle Mayers, Keon Harding, Hayden Walsh Jr., Rakeem Carnwall. This is the tournament, Kofi James, Kareem Ago. This is a tournament that players has used a number of times to gain exposure. When we look at Antigua, St. Kitts is the place in the Leeward Islands where everybody wants to play white ball cricket. If you speak to all the regional stars, they will tell you that in St. Kitts it is a different sort of atmosphere. It is lovely. The wicket is good. The experience of being here is amazing. And when I think some things that we need to see more often is regional integration of different assets. And sporting assets are a very important thing. So we need to start to build the capacity. St. Kitts hasn't had a West Indies Test player yet, but again, Nevis has had 7, and Nevis and St. Kitts has a lot of players currently playing regional cricket. So how do you what mechanism can you put in place that is a transfer of information? And I think this is what we can do. It's the tournament would have been going on it would last about 10 days, 10 cricketing days. And during those 10 days, players would be in situations that are circumstances that they never found themselves in. Again, how many times do you think Lashon would have found himself in that position to win a game for his team?
Correct.
You know, how many times do we get the opportunity to see Kitishans and Divisions on the same team playing together? How many times do we get to see the local atmosphere that can be drawn by cricket? You know, so I think these are all things that we need to give players. We need to give them the opportunity. We need to give them the facilities in order for us to build our capacity here in St. Kitts and Nevis.
Now we have 6 teams. Who are the 6 teams? And what system was used to come up with the names of the teams? And as a follow-up, the players, how was it determined to have who playing for what team?
So the name of the teams, and I'll just give you captains as well, so that the listening audience has an idea of some of the players that they can come out and support. In terms of the names, we have the Sandy Point Snappers, who is captained by Theron Busu. Theron Busu would have captained he's captained Nevis before. He's captained the Leewards under 15, Leewards under 17. We have the St. Paul's Barracudas, which is captained by hometown hero Mr. Cameron Pennyfeather. We have the Molyneux Blue Runners, who is captained by another local superstar in Jace Taylor. We have the Brownhill Dolphins, who is captained by Keswan Archibald. We have the Haynes Smith Sharks, who is captained by Jeremiah Louis. And then we have the Government Road Stingrays, who would have been captained by Jamie Cornelius.
6 teams.
6 teams.
How did
And then the construct of those teams will have been done from a draft basis. So we put out a Google Forms link on Instagram and Facebook, and we asked interested persons to register, and we did it in a draft, a round robin sort of stuff, where the team would have been picked. You know, Brownhill, you're on the clock, you have the ability to pick the X player, Y player, and something that we put in there is that teams must have had 2 under 19 players, because again, development is something that is very important. Yes, we want to create a platform for our cricketers to excel, but we also need to think about the youth development aspect to hosting tournaments like this.
And who were eligible for the draft? Could my producer here, Jamster, seen it and know about it and just applied?
Definitely, as long as the number one thing you needed was interest and hopefully a helmet.
A helmet.
Yeah, hopefully.
Well, with his head, the head's hard, his skull's hard. He may not need a helmet. But, so you would have had how many players selected? What criteria now?
So then each team would have consisted of 15 squad players, and they would have had managers and captains, and they had the option of seeking the services of a coach.
Were the players just limited to St. Kitts and Nevis?
No, they're not. However, you know, because of how close the tournament started to the ending of the West Indies Championship, a lot of players would have wanted a bit of a rest. So unfortunately for this edition, we didn't have the ability to include a lot of the players that we would have wanted to. However, we've seen in this tournament a few of our local Leeward Islands Hurricanes players in Jamal Hamilton, Rakeem Cornwall, Jeremiah Louis, Mikael Louis, and then you have Carlin Bowen-Tuckett, who plays for West Indies Academy, along with Keswan Archibald, who also plays for Leeward Islands. And then you have players who have been in and around that same sort of setup. Jace Taylor would have been a former Leeward Islands player. You have Kian Pemberton there, who is a former Leeward Islands player. So, you know, there's a lot of players that have a lot of regional experience that, you know, has made the time and the effort to be here.
There's a Hardin from Barbados.
Oh yes, I can't forget Kian Hardin as well. Yeah, Kian Hardin, who would have played for West Indies as well, he is here and participating in the tournament as well.
Now, why this period, this date? Is it just because it was immediately after the regional 4-day, or was there any other reason or reasons?
Well, we must think about this is the only window we have before the preparations for the World Cup really start.
Okay.
St. Kitts is actually fortunate enough to have a few teams coming through here as part of their preparation for the World Cup. So again, in terms of venue availability and things, is something that needed to happen during this window. What we had in mind as well is that the CPL draft will be a bit later this year due to the World Cup, and that is another thing that we can piggyback off of as an incentive for players to really come out and play. And we are very fortunate enough now that the region has 2 CPL teams, being the Antigua Falcons and the St. Kitts Nevis Patriots. So this is something that we want to create. We want to create a regional, local tournament in each country in order for us to, have that conversation of, hey, we have players that are able, our players can't, continue to be overlooked. And, we use silly things like, well, what white ball performances have they produced and what's not like that. So, and this gives the general public the ability to see that their persons here are able to play cricket as well, and then hopefully they can take a page out of my book and come here and Win FM and talk about it and let public outcry be our friend.
Indeed. So how does this fit in with the Cool and Smooth in St. Kitts and Cool and Smooth in Antigua? Is it going to be alternate St. Kitts this year, Antigua next year?
No, so the Antigua tournament will be in July.
Okay.
And that will be right before the CPL draft.
Okay.
So how we plan to do it is that after the West Indies tournament, the West Indies 4-day tournament, we'll have it in St. Kitts, and then in July we'll have it in Antigua.
Okay, well, you would have answered the next question. So every year there are going to be 2 hostings of the Cool and Smooth T20.
Yes.
One in St. Kitts immediately after, and in Antigua in July.
Yes.
Are there any plans to say, well, we're hosting it for the first 15, 20, or the plan is to host it for forever technically?
Well, we host it until it's no longer something that people want, in a sense. I think the turnout for this year has been nothing but motivating. We've seen performances, we've seen good games, we've seen a super over, we've seen a batsman score 100. We've seen young players being the stars of their teams. So the motivation to keep it going is there. And again, it's the first year, so I don't necessarily want to use it as our benchmark year. And I think things like this, local initiatives like this, will only get better as time goes on.
Any plans to say have a St. Kitts and Nevis Cool and Smooth T20 playing against an Antigua and Barbuda Cool and Smooth T20, whether a one-off game or the best?
Well, I think I should use this opportunity to invite you to come on board with the team, because you seem to have very good ideas.
Thank you.
But again, that is something that we definitely will be looking at. Previously, Cool and Smooth in Antigua would pick an all-star team that would play against the Patriots or play against, the Hawksbills when the Hawksbills were the Hawksbills. So it is something that has been done in a slightly different way, but I think something definitely worth exploring, because it would be a good opportunity for us to see what our short format white ball cricket looks like here in the region. And also it could be used as an opportunity for selectors to see what we have. We have the next West Indies tournament is the Super 50, right? But before that, are we sure that we're going to have a white ball tournament to showcase the abilities of those here in the region? No. Antigua has been fortunate enough to have something like that in place for 10 years, but we don't have that here. So hopefully utilizing opportunities like this to bring tournaments like that here will help to build our capacity and showcase to selectors that, hey, there's this young man from Charleston, or there's this young man from Sandy Point,
You're listening to On The Ball here at Win FM 98.9, a sports program heard every Tuesday from 7 to 9 p.m. Our guest in studio, live and lively tonight, is Mr. Dark Brown, the tournament director for the Cool and Smooth T20 here, the inaugural Cool and Smooth T20 here in St. Kitts. And the Cool and Smooth T20 have been happening in Antigua for the last 10 years, a decade. So it's a nice time for the expansion. Are there any thoughts in the near term, medium term, to expand to any other country, and Anguilla, St. Martin, Virgin Islands even?
Again, small steps. It took Cool and Smooth 10 years to transition out of Antigua. Hopefully, it doesn't take that long, but hopefully along the way that we could have more collaborative efforts with the Leeward Islands cricket board, and kind of just aid the mechanisms that they need in order to build their cricket. So can they go to places like that? You never know. I don't think anything is out of sight or out of range for the brand itself. But again, something like that would take proper planning.
Could you tell us the budget for operating the Cool and Smooth T20 here in St. Kitts?
The budget?
Yes, sir. How much is it costing you and your team to put off this tournament?
I want to answer you diplomatically and say, is there ever a price on development?
No, there's never really.
In terms of an actual figure, I wouldn't be able to provide that right now. But let's just say that the local authorities that we have been very helpful in terms of consideration of cost of certain things. And, I must give a big shout out to the Department of Sports here in St. Kitts and Nevis and the Ministry of Sports. From the Minister to the Director of Sports, they have been very helpful in this initiative. Something that we got here, we got the stadium for free. In Antigua, that is a cost that we would have to bear. So it's little instances like that where we recognize that their support, there's the ability to get help. So in terms of giving you hard numbers, I wouldn't be able to, but what I can say is that the Department of Sports and the St. Kitts Cricket Association have been very helpful in terms of subsidizing cost of certain things for the tournament to be able to play.
What about prize money and incentives for the players, the man of the match and what have you, player of the series?
And I'm going to tell you that you should come on out on Saturday for the finals, and all of that will be on display, and we'll have some stars. We're having Sir Vivian Richards, Sir Andy Roberts, and Sir Richie Richardson coming here to watch the finals, and then we will have also the local and the regional players that would have played for Leeward Islands and the West Indies in the Strutt Williams, the Keith Athertons, and stuff like that. So come on out on Saturday and see all the questions that you just asked me will be on display. We have a nice little greeting for the players that have done really well in this tournament.
Could you give us an idea of the remaining matches in the tournament?
So we just had a match that was abandoned due to rain, unfortunately. And that was a game that actually would have decided who goes to fourth place and takes the last semi-final position between the Brownhill Dolphins and the Hainesmith Sharks. But we have another game that is supposed to start at 8:30. I'm not too sure what the park is looking like. And that would have been a game between Molyneux Blue Runners and the St. Paul Barracudas, two teams that have been playing very, very good cricket. And then after that, we have the semi-finals on Thursday, starting at 4:30, the first game, and at 8:30, the next. And then on Saturday, we have a third place game and a final.
What have you decided on the times for those games on Saturdays yet?
The timings on Saturday will be 4:30 and 8:30.
4:30 and 8:30.
Yeah.
You said the first game was to determine one of the teams to advance to the semi-finals. So how would that be worked out now, since it was abandoned?
It would have to be off a net run rate. And as I look here, I'm not too sure if this is updated because I don't have my data on, but it is saying that Brownhill has a better net run rate, so it would be Brownhill going through based on that, due to the game being abandoned.
Okay, I understand that. Dak, I think you folks are doing a wonderful job, and I appreciate the fact that you have come to St. Kitts, and I also appreciate the fact that the umpires from St. Kitts have been given an opportunity to officiate in this tournament. I also like the fact that it's being streamed and you have live commentary, because it means that this is going all over the world.
Yes, definitely. And just to share, we may not have the amount of people that we want in the park, but I could, if you go on YouTube and you look at the Cool and Smooth live streams, we've been getting over 10,000 views on the different games. So, that is my call for the local, for our local supporters to come out and pick a team and come down to Warner Park and just support. We have a lot of talent on display, and we definitely, this is the kind of support that people need in order to encourage them to continue playing this lovely game of cricket.
I appreciate that. I really compliment you guys highly. I like the idea, and especially with the two youngsters. What was the age again?
Two under 19 players.
Under 19.
Yep.
And do they have to be just in the squad, or both of them have to be on the field?
No, one has to play.
One has to play.
Yep.
And we've seen Lashawn Bogan last night winning for this team. And this could only build his confidence.
Definitely.
When he's playing against Leeward Islands players, and as you mentioned earlier, in the dressing room with some of them, especially non-nationals.
Yep.
And no doubt it is really...
And I think, like you said earlier, when you gave commendations for things like umpires and commentators and utilizing local people, these are the kind of opportunities that our local people need in order to see where they're at, in order to be better and to do better. I think a lot of times we look at St. Kitts as a host destination, but how much of our people are actually being utilized in ways that will benefit our product, which is local cricket, and the Cool and Smooth team is not just we're not the main focus is not just building cricketers. We want to build a different cricketing capacity. So we want umpires to get to a level where they can do regional games. We want commentators to be able to perform at a level that is exciting. We want scorers to have the opportunity to be in constant communication with these different platforms that bring the game. We want our streamers to have the capacity to know that, hey, this is what I need to do. This is what they want. How am I going to be able to provide that? And then also, I don't know if you recognize from the games that there are people doing interviews. There are people, videographers creating little reels, and there's definitely a nice little social media buzz around the tournament. And this is just to show people that cricket has gone far past just bat and ball. There are different capacities around that, are very much needed. It plays a significant part in what the modern day game of cricket is. And this tournament is to show people that, hey, you don't have to necessarily be a lover of cricket to come on down and to find somewhere to play your part.
Which company, service provider, who are dealing with the
So
streaming?
SKN Newsline is dealing with the streaming of the games.
Oh, okay, then that's Andre here. I think they've been doing a wonderful job.
Yep, definitely.
And the fact that it's spreading, again, I compliment you. But any final words you have?
I would like to take this opportunity before I leave to say thank you to you for inviting me on the show. You would have stopped me a couple of days ago at the game and introduced yourself and told me that you would love to have me here. I am very honored to be here. It was a good conversation. I want to take this time to tell our listening audience that, come out to the park, pick a team, come and support. There are different villages out there. If you're from St. Paul's, come and support St. Paul's. I know that St. Paul's is a very big football community. There's no reason why that love cannot translate to cricket as well. We have Sandy Point. And what people think must recognize is that St. Paul's is actually the hub of the young cricketers here in St. Kitts. Sandy Point has done very well in producing the Sheena Berridges and, the Shane Jeffers, So we need to come out and show some support to our local players, because again, this is sometimes what they need in order for them to continue to be motivated and for them to strive for excellence.
Again, I commend you and your team here in St. Kitts and also in Antigua highly of this. And you mentioned development, and earlier in the program you mentioned the St. Kitts Patriots. I know one of the serious discussions that has been happening throughout St. Kitts is the fact that no competition is really being playing on the St. Kitts and Nevis Patriots. So maybe you might get your counterpart in Nevis, Dario, the manager, to have a look at that really, because that has really been a sore point for us. But nonetheless, we thank you and all your stakeholders for having that program. I'm thinking that we may perhaps need to have a discussion with the Cool and Smooth entity with the possibility of sponsoring this program on the ball in whole or in part, but that's for another day, of course. And I do thank you and wish you all the best. And I will be in the final in some way, size, shape, or form. And I will invite my producer here, Jamster. I don't know how it's going to work out with his wife and the lady he has down in St. Paul's and the one he has up in Brownhill. So
he put you on the spot, boy. Well, guess what? You know, if you want me, I could bring a shirt for each so that during the game you could just decide which team you want to support.
I like that, Doc. You seem just as bad as me. All right, thanks a lot. We wish you all the best and congratulations. And have a very successful tournament, not only this year, but in future.
Thank
and
you.
be safe when you're getting back home.
All right, thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you, sir. You've been listening to an interview with Doc Brown, the tournament director for the Cool and Smooth Cricket Tournament here in St. Kitts and Nevis. That St. Kitts, pardon me, that is happening, and we're getting close to the semi-final stage. It ends on Saturday, Godspeed. So you have to come out to Warner Park. You have to support them. Games are 4:30 and 8:30. Stick and stay. Don't go away. We'll be back with our second and final guest, the St. Christopher Golf Club, in just a few seconds. And this On The Ball program is brought to you every Tuesday night on Win FM 98.9 from 7 to 9 p.m. And again, the lines to call in 466-0989. And if you're too shy to speak, you can call me. You can WhatsApp me, and I will gladly bring that program for you. I'll tell you that text. So don't go away. We'll be back in a minute and a half. Welcome back to On the Ball here at WinFM 98.9. I am Troy Biff, your host, and I thank you for tuning into the program, which is heard every Tuesday night from 7 to 9 p.m. on 78.9 WinFM on the FM band, and also via YouTube, WinFM's YouTube and WinFM's Facebook. We just had an interview with Mr. Dark Brown, the tournament director for the inaugural Cool and Smooth T20 competition being played here in St. Kitts. And now we're going to go into a smaller ball. The gentlemen are using a smaller ball than the cricket ball, and that is golf, one of the smallest balls. Marbles, that's the smallest balls, I think. But they aren't any international and regional.
Table tennis.
Table tennis ball is just a little smaller about golf or thereabouts.
Smaller than golf.
But the marbles that you pitch, you guys used to pitch marbles?
Of course.
Definitely.
Children pitch marbles still, boy?
Definitely.
I don't think so.
Definitely.
They don't play chafing not still zip zap zapping? Good evening, gentlemen. Welcome to WinFM.
For sure.
Welcome to 98.9. Could you tell our listeners who you are?
Good evening, and first of all, thanks for having us. My name is Zeke Percival, the president of the Royal St. Kitts Golf Club.
And my name is Darian Fleming. I'm an executive member of the Royal St. Kitts Golf Club and golf enthusiast.
And how is golf doing in St. Kitts and Nevis?
Well, golf is still alive. I mean, like everything else, there's some challenges, but it's still alive. I want to mention about one of our young player who is off to Texas, Clayton Howardale, who went off to Texas to play in the Commonwealth Champ Foundation 18 and under boys tournament. Commonwealth Champ is a PGA professional, and Clayton Howardale was lucky
Invited.
to be invited. So he's out there in Texas, and they're just into the practice sessions and so forth. So we'll definitely keep the general public up to date on his success. But we want to congratulate Clayton Howardale on that.
You said he was invited. Invited by whom, and how did that invitation come about?
Okay, he's invited by Commonwealth Champ Foundation.
Okay.
But how that come about is, some time ago I got a call from the president of the Trinidad Golf Association and asking me about a player in Antigua, a junior in Antigua. And I said, yes, I know the young man and blah, 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 recommend him. And then I went on to say, look, I have a young man in St. Kitts who is even a much better golfer and a wonderful fella that I would like to give the chance. And he said, okay, well, let me see what I could do. And he went and he hooked me up to talk to Commonwealth Champ Dad, who runs the foundation. And I spoke with him and he said, send some information. I did. And he sent back and he said, yes, he's invited.
So when did he leave? When is the competition? When is he returning?
He left last week.
Yes, on the weekend, I think.
He's going to return on the
6th, I think. It's either 6th or the 7th. The tournament is this weekend.
Yeah, the tournament is this weekend.
Yes,
So
Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
yeah, or the 13th or the 12th. So he's going to return next month, sometime next month.
How many playing days are they having? Is it just Saturday, Sunday, or Friday, Saturday, Sunday?
No, I think it's actually
3 day.
a 3 days tournament, but it's a cut. So you have to make the cut. You play,
in order to make the
and then you're qualified to go on.
To the second round,
Yeah.
the second and the first day, of
Yeah.
course.
Yeah.
Okay.
And what's good about that? There's thousands of scouts going to be there, trying to pick up for college and so forth. So, with our fingers crossed, we hope that Clayton
He might get a
Howardale.
scholarship.
Yeah.
I envy your golfers. I think I probably would come to play golf because cricket and netball, these are two of the sports we play here in St. Kitts, male and female, that there isn't any scholarship program that I know in place for them. You have football, you have volleyball, you have basketball, you have track and field, but not for cricket and netball. And I remember my daughter when she was primary school, and she's now, next month is going to make her what, 24? Wow. She getting old, boy. I wonder if any grandson was here.
She got time.
But she was playing football for her school. She was playing netball. She was into track and field. And when they had scrimmages and so for the grassroots, they would pick her as captain. But then she made the St. Kitts and Nevis on the 13 netball team to go to Dominica for OECS tournament. And I don't remember if they won it, but she went. And then she made the under 15. And I realized the danger what was happening. And I keep telling her, look, sweetheart, I realize you love netball, but continue with the football, please. Continue with the track and field, because netball don't give no scholarship.
Yeah, that's true.
And football and track and field would give scholarship. Why? That was a waste of time because she stuck with the netball on the 19, on the 21, on the 23, and what have you. The only team she hasn't made as yet is the national team, and I'm not certain she may have too much interest in that now. I don't know, because I don't think she plays much. And I don't know, but I could understand. And who knows? And I'm really glad that this youngster is getting the opportunity in golf. And in terms of scholarship, I wasn't even aware that they had scholarships for golf. But
tons.
But that's a wonderful thing.
Tons.
So Jamster and I would need to go and walk on a few babies so we could get them off the age to get a scholarship. Right, Jamster? But gentlemen, I've been listening to your Cool and Smooth and your tournaments that have been going, your weekly tournaments. How has that really been going? And thank you for the reports that you've been providing us.
And thanks for you for pushing it. It's been going well. I have to admit that the committee worked very hard, and people like you, radio announcer, sport announcer, who get the news out there for us every week or when we send it. It's wonderful. So it's been just great.
So what do you have coming up for us?
Well, we have coming up next month is the 41st SKN St. Kitts Open, sponsored, of course, by Johnny Walker. Johnny Walker being the main sponsor for the past 20 years. But Darian is going to go over the list with the other sponsors. So, Darian.
Yes. So as Zeke mentioned, Johnny Walker is our premier sponsor, and we've been fortunate enough this year to have somewhere in the region of over 20 additional support sponsors.
Wow.
Yeah.
We have to have a conversation, man.
Well,
table tennis could do with quite a few of those.
Well, as Zeke mentioned, maybe our executive could work for the table tennis executive.
Yeah, we're going to have a discussion.
But we've managed to get Digicel on board. We have Flow, company Trade Winds, we have Meridian Medical, Bistro, Hobson Enterprises, National Insurance, Opus Wines, Cox and Screws, Island Life, TDC, Hosfords, Eldorado, Sweet and Savory, National Bank, Sugars, and these persons, how the sponsorship works actually is you don't just contribute and then there's nothing. You get to display memorabilia, paraphernalia, flyers for your companies throughout the golf course, so that persons get to see, there's some sort of visual attraction for the sponsors. And in addition to that, one of the things that the executive has put together this year is, this is the second year that we've done it. That would be a spectator's tent, right? Most times on television, you would see golf spectators up in a stand or something with his beverages and all sorts of good stuff. So for people who either care about golf or care about having a good time and having a good time, let's just call it that. And so it's actually, I think, an idea that Zeke has pushed and brought to fruition as the president of the club now, to have this spectators tent where yourself, Jamster, the rest of the staff at Win FM, whoever else wants to come and actually see players playing and have a good time, have some good food. There's going to be music and stuff like that. We're trying to get the general public more involved. That's one of the things that we're really pushing for as well. We really want to have people out there. I would like to have people come and see me, sink a winning putt on the last hole.
Defeating Zeke.
You know? Well, fortunately for myself, Zeke has decided to sit out this year.
Maybe he afraid you then.
Not at all.
No. Like Darian say, and the gentleman said it, who was here earlier about the
Dark.
cricket. Dark said it about the spectators coming or people coming, even though you love football, that you come to cricket and know it's not just about playing the game, but you could do so much to be involved. And this is the same thing I want to do with golf. I want to turn the executive committee knows what my goal is to turn it into an event, not just come and play golf
And you go home when you're
and
finished.
go home. And for the last, like years ago, we used to have the field up to 150. At one time it was 172. Then we fall off a lot. Then COVID stepped in and it got worse. And then for the past 2 years, it's been
Building back up.
And this year we set out to have 80 players. And as of today, we had 92
Wow.
players.
Congrats.
But not just only the players. There's a big group coming out of Trinidad. I have something like 20, I think it was 26 people coming from Trinidad, not just for golf, not for golf. These are the ones who just come in to drink a good coffee and support.
And some black and some Johnny Walker black.
Yeah. So we're going to try and turn this into a beautiful event. So like Darian said, the spectators tent going to be there, inviting everybody to come on over, sit down and look at some golf. So that is our aim, is to turn it into an event, bring people to Sinkits, fill the restaurants and fill beds at the hotels.
I like the sound of that. Would you be having just one tent, or there be several tents spread around different places?
Well, no, what we're doing this year, we're just having one like
tent.
we did, and that's behind the final hole. Because that's where a lot of the excitement is. But sorry, 2. That's right. No, we're having 2. There's one on number 10. Yeah, we're having 2 this year. But going forward, that will happen. We will have different spots where we will ask spectators to sit down and have a good time.
Well, the 2 tents take a little pressure off of my producer Jamster, because with him having his wife and the lady in Charleston and the lady in Sandy Point, he could put one there. But he doesn't know that for taking pressure off of me, because of my 5 chicks, 2 from Sandy Point, 1 from Molyneux, 1 from Keanu, 1 from Nevis. I could only carry 2 to the White Him. So, but I understand. I like it. I think it's a good idea.
Yeah.
And I always enjoy looking at, and I must admit, not the few minutes of golf. I don't really sit on it at a long time. And you're seeing the spectators lining the different fairways from the different holes. And obviously there's a rope to keep them back. And I like the idea. And it's interesting. So what entertainment would you have for those persons at the 18th hole when you're starting early in the morning at the first hole?
Yeah. Well, we're going to encourage everybody to come over like 11 o'clock.
Okay.
Going forward. Going there. And so we have some entertainment. We're going to have Daddy Sauce in the house playing some music. And this year, for the first time, we're going to have an entertainer. We're going to have Ike Flanders coming over and entertaining the crowd with some beautiful singing. We all know he's a great singer. And we're going to look at other things too. Someone said to me, I think it was my wife said to me yesterday, that we need to get the Akola drummers. So I'm going to speak to the committee tomorrow in the executive meeting and see if we could add that. But over the years, we used to use steel pan and marker jumbies and so forth. So we're going to just keep adding to it. And like we said, turn it into a wonderful event.
Well, I'm going to push in a plug for the Jingle Bells string band. I don't know if you and your executive could entertain that. And
let us talk.
Of course, no problem.
Yes, let us
and
talk.
I'm certain the captain, James Hamilton, or Pepper.
I know Pepper, yes.
Pepper.
I was a little kid.
Yes.
I'm a Newton man.
I'm certain he'll be glad to come, and
Yes,
who knows,
that's
maybe at his age he might decide to get into playing with the smaller balls. I don't know. But I like the idea, and I like the program, and I must commend you and your executive for doing that. And because the persons may, like, I don't believe that you have one of the largest spectatorship of the sports in the country.
That's right.
And that is something that I believe can go a very, very long way to actually build the product, the interest, the activity. You want to come there and spend 2-3 hours, you're on a few buddies, or you're on, you're on the madam, or whatever the case is.
Yes. And people have to feel welcome. And that is something that we have to work on at the club. What's her name? Lulu from up the village. I mean, she went over there one time to look at the game, but she didn't know where to go. There was nothing,
So
inviting
Lula
her.
get lost.
So Lula get lost, So, but we have to work on that. One of the things that we got to work on hard, because a lot of people come and walk the golf course for exercise. We need to turn those walkers for exercise. We need to turn them into spectators looking on at the game. But we have to first make them feel welcome at the club. Just Saturday, there was this young lady, I forgot her name, oh God, was celebrating her birthday. And she and her friends, I think it was like 9 of them, girls, and I think it was one gentleman, they decided to come and do golf instead. So
That's interesting.
Yes, I give them some instructions, then drive them around the golf course. Then they sat there and had lunch, and they had a blast, But we need to turn that also into spectators until they get into the game.
I like that idea as a going out for your birthday as opposed to going to the movies or going to dinner.
Yeah.
That is extraordinary, actually. You go there and you drive around, and then you have your lunch at the golf club and things like that, because you do serve lunch and snacks.
Well, yes.
And that's wonderful. In terms of your tents, are you going to be selling food and drinks?
Yes.
And of course, you're going to have Johnny Black on sale.
Johnny Black on sale.
Johnny Black on sale.
Yeah.
So
That's
because
right.
I realize that is a very popular drink, even among ladies.
Yeah, that's going to be on
Johnny
sale.
Black.
Yeah.
And I do enjoy, make sure you have coconut water, because
Yeah.
a lot of people like the Johnny Black or coconut water. Johnny Black.
You're talking to the
and ginger.
pastor.
Oh.
But it's going to be beautiful this year. I mean, I want to say thanks to TDC, because last year when I came up with the idea, and I know some of the committee members were struggling their head, how am I going to get it done? And I called TDC Mr. Nick Menon, and they was graciously come on board and sponsor the platform, the tent, and so forth. And also via from Public Works, I don't remember his name, but he come and set it up
Via McLean.
for us.
Harry.
McLean. That's right. He came and set it up for us, and it went well. Our main sponsor for Johnny Walker site, and then immediately said, hey, next year I want to brand that. So he's on board with it. So it's going to be special. So I'm inviting the public. My thing is, I would love to just, like Darian said, I decided
100 people,
Yes.
150
I decided
people.
not to play this year because of the big group coming out of Trinidad, and I want to make sure I could show them my hospitality from beginning to end with them. And I would love to see 150, 200 locals over there looking on and having a great time.
You mentioned that you were budgeting for 80 players. You're up to 92.
92.
You already gone over the budget. So are you still accepting, and if so, what ceiling would you set?
Well, no, we cut it off already at 92.
Oh, cut off.
The reason why we're cutting it off, though, is because of the number of golf carts that we have.
Oh,
Yeah, so we don't want to. Just today, I was speaking to the superintendent there at the course, and he was saying to me, "You should take it up to 200." I said, "No, I don't want us to embarrass ourselves, and take it up to 100 and can't deliver. So we're going to keep it to 92."
I like that idea.
Yeah.
And next year, chances are you're going to be climbing to over 100, as the case may be.
Definitely.
So are you going to be thinking of encouraging the bosses there to buy a few more carts, or are you going to be liaising with some other golfing entity?
Get the
Partner with
bosses
them.
to buy more cards.
Okay.
They need to. They need to.
Definitely.
If if we're serious, not just for the golf tournament, but if we're serious about tourism and sports tourism, we have to pay more attention
Make
to the
investments.
golf course and make the investment.
Yes.
I like that idea.
Because Mills, no sport, whether it's football, cricket, basketball,
tennis.
no sport bring more people to the country than golf. Just think of it.
I am trying to actually to defend that when there's CPL.
How much people come in for CPL? Once a year. Golf is all year round. There's always people coming in to play golf.
It's like, what would the likelihood be of somebody getting up from Arkansas, going online, typing in St. Kitts, and want to leave Arkansas and come to play basketball or tennis or cricket in St. Kitts? Or they don't come for those sports. They would come for golf, though.
Okay,
You know?
that sounds
That,
reasonable.
it's from that vein. It's overlooked very easily because the golf course is there. It's in the the well-to-do area of St. Kitts, so to speak. But we are golfers, so we understand the culture associated with golf, and there is no sport that can draw people to a place more than golf.
Yeah. It's like in I think it was January it was where I put this package together and sent it to Richard Laura in Trinidad, and within a month or so, we had 20 something people booked. to
Wow.
come, and like I said, there's people coming who don't play golf. They're just coming to
Have
hang
a
out.
good time.
They're coming to hang out. One of them told me yesterday that his wife said she can't wait to go back to Nevis to have the killer bee. So it's not just the tournament.
Yeah.
It's the committee. We are putting on a beautiful event, and we want the people of St. Kitts Nevis to be a part of it. Come on over.
Yeah.
You said 92 golfers.
Yeah.
Where are they coming from?
From England, we have some from England, America, Canada, Guyana, all the way down to the U.S. Virgin Islands.
Okay. And are you going to have any from St. Kitts, any golfers from St. Kitts?
Oh,
And
yeah.
if so, how many?
Yeah, I think there's like 16 booked from St. Kitts Nevis.
Did they have to go through any qualifying or was it an open registration?
because this is an open
Yeah,
registration.
it's an open event.
It's an open event.
And it's the St. Kitts Open?
Yeah, St. Kitts Nevis
St.
open.
Kitts Nevis Open.
I like to dub it the SKN
Oh.
Johnny Walker Open.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And when are the playing days?
The playing days are the 18th and the 19th.
That's the Saturday. and
Well,
Sunday.
the 17th is the practice day.
round.
So you'll get a lot of people out doing the last practice sessions.
And then the conclusion on the Monday too.
Then on the Monday, we move over to Nevis, where we will have the finals of the E-Zone Cup. So that will be playing Nevis on the 20th. That's the day after the St. Kitts Open.
That's the Whit Monday.
That's the Whit Monday.
Oh, okay. So this all happening goes down on the Whit weekend.
Yeah, yeah.
And how many years you said this has been happening?
42.
42.
42 years. Sorry, 41. 41. But I think I'm right
You think you're right with 42?
with 42. Because if you check, 78 now is what?
You would have had one in, you're right. If it's 78. 78, that's
That'll be
20, 22.
Yeah,
22, and you would have had 24 years now, so that's 46.
that's 46.
But you take out the 2 for
COVID.
you're down to 44.
And then,
And then you sure it's not 43? Because they would have been the year for the first year, it would be counted as one.
one, yes, correct.
That's right.
Yeah.
So 78, 79, 90 is 3 years.
And
As opposed to 80 minus 78.
Correct.
And how I remember that, because you will like this, how I remember that. The golf course was opened in 76. We host the East Caribbean Championship in 78. And we also mix it with the St. Kitts Open. And it was won by a Sunny Pointer.
But that's why we say SP were the best man.
Oliver Henderson, who lives in the U.S. Virgin Islands.
Oliver Hendrickson.
He's Henderson, but he lives in the U.S. Virgin Islands.
I wonder if he was related to Alfred Hendrickson, the late Alfred Hendrickson, the cricketer.
Yes.
And Doc, who used to drive taxi and drive bus.
Yes, he was. I know the cricketer because when he come, he used to go and look for him, and I remember that very well. But other than, but we say 41, so we'll stick with 41.
Well, you see, these are the kind of things why we say SP where the best be. It's not simple idle chat. We're the back with chat. But I always say, and Carl Francis, he has invited me to come on over, but I have to squeeze in some time.
If you have to come, man.
And
This is the year.
I don't know.
The year.
I get the impression that once people get into golf, it traps them. They're trapped and they can't walk away.
It's a hook.
Whether it's male or female. I get that impression.
Yes, and you're right.
I suspect something good is happening over there.
Definitely.
I don't know if my producer, Jamster, would probably pick it up one of these days. But Carl Francis, he has encouraged me a few times.
It's a beautiful sport.
To actually come over and play golf. And what are the prizes at stake?
But you know, it's amateur, so there's no cash.
No cash prizes.
You know, you might get an envelope, but no cash.
No cash. So you're going to have trophies for
Trophies,
second, third.
with there's trophies and golf equipments and so forth.
So what different, I know for the E-zone, for example, you have closest to the pin and low. So what sort of categories would you be awarding any prizes for?
Well, the same thing, the closest to the pins and so forth. And this one even go wider because we break it down. We have the championship flight. That's the young guns like Mr. Fleming here, the young boys. And then you have the seniors category, and then you have the men's. So we separate them. There's 5 different categories.
You make provisions for females as well?
Yes, of
definitely.
course.
Same 5 categories?
No, they're included in the 5.
Oh, the female included?
Yeah, in the 5.
In the 5?
Yeah. I wouldn't do it without the ladies.
Oh, we can't do it
No.
without the ladies. I'm always fascinated by closest to the hole. How does that work?
Okay, you get to a
Par 3.
par 3, which is a hole, and it might be 211 yards. Let me go with the longest one. And the person that hit the ball closer to the hole on his first shot, that's the closest to the pin.
So it's only done on one hole?
No, we do it in different holes.
So there are multiple
But the
prizes
short-
available.
but the
on
short
Par 3.
ones.
Yeah.
The shorter holes?
The
as
shorter
well.
holes.
correct.
So
That-
211 is a short hole.
Short distance, correct.
What's the longest one you have?
580 something yards.
Oh, and what's the
That's
par
number
five?
11.
That's a 5. That's a
par
par 5.
five?
Par 5,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
Very
five.
long.
Okay. I like that. The closest to the pin, closest to the hole.
Yeah. So what that does, it gives everybody a chance of winning because you could be a beginner and win because you hit the ball and you roll, and it ends up there. A matter of fact,
So why you got roll, Zeke?
huh?
It can go in the ear.
most hole-in-ones where people get one shot in the hole are done by not I don't want to say not good golfers, but people who just play.
The average
golfer.
player, yeah. Very true.
It sounds interesting, gentlemen. Yeah. But is there anything else you want to tell us? Any upcoming events closely behind this?
Well, the next week we have the monthly medal and also the last playoff for the E-Zone Cup where they could grab points. So that's next week. We have the
Have to come goodbye.
the monthly medal coming up and also the E-Zone Cup. You could call it the semifinals because this is the last game before you get to gather points before this thing gets open. But we want again to encourage the general public to come on over and witness some good golf in the 41st SKN Johnny Walker Golf Open.
And you sponsors, you want to thank your sponsors again?
Again, yes, we want to give a big thank you to Ram's group of companies. And again, I'll just go over the list. Digicel, Flow, Trade Winds, TDC, Meridian Medical, The Bistro, Hobson's Enterprises, National Insurance, Opus Wines, Cox and Screws, Island Life, Hosfords, Eldorado, Sweet and Savory, National Bank, and Sugars. Thanks you so much for your support. Yeah, got TDC.
And I also want to say thanks to Win FM and you also for inviting us. And if I could say it, also thanks to Theo Clark at ZAZ who invited us and to get the news out.
Gentlemen, I like the idea and you're tempting me. I'm salivating about coming to play golf. Maybe football or cricket, not that I play them, but officiating one of them might suffer, I don't know, but I have to give it some thought. And I like the idea as well as trying to build a spectatorship.
Definitely.
And I'm inviting you over.
Yeah, we expect to see you there, you know.
And one of the things we're going to do this year, before I forget, is we're trying to push ladies golf. We're trying to push ladies golf. So for the opening of the tournament, we're gonna be blessed to have the First Lady and Mrs. Gloria Wilkins and the Secretary in the Prime Minister's office, Vera Galloway. They will be officially hitting the first ball for the tournament to officially opening the tournament. So I'm excited about that.
I like that. And when you said you wanted to do something special for the ladies, I realized Jamster started paying a little more attention. So who knows, I might see him and his wife over there for the opening.
Because we're glad to have Mrs. Gloria Wilkins. She played in the first St. Kitts Open. Yeah.
Wow.
She played in the first St. Kitts Open. She was the ladies champion here for years. She used to beat up a lot of the men them here.
Serious?
Yeah. When I was a little caddy boy, I remember she used to beat up on a lot of the men them. So she will be there. I'm excited about having her.
That's wonderful.
Coming down and of course the First Lady to come on and also the Secretary. I'm excited about it because we really want to push ladies golf here in St. Kitts Nevis.
Gentlemen, I like the idea and I commend you highly on it, and I'm hoping that it be tremendously successful and you'll continue to go. I'll try to make it. I'm not promising that I will make it, but I'll really give it a try.
Please.
Because trance is one of the things. I probably have to get one of my chicks them with trance to drop me over there.
Yeah,
I'm out of trance at the moment.
Trance is trance.
Yeah, the one down so got a chance.
The one down so. Oh, how you do that? I have to speak to her, see if she could fit me in the schedule.
Yes, okay.
But congrats again and best wishes. And I thank the sponsors for coming on board because that is very important for anything to happen.
Very important.
And I really thank
Oh my
you.
gosh.
Yes.
I forgot Development Bank.
Yeah, you did say development.
I did say Development Bank as a sponsor? Okay, thank you.
Well, if you didn't say it then, you're saying it now.
Definitely saying it now, yes.
Mhm, so-
this is the first year they've come on board.
Yes,
Sponsoring
they come in a
tournament,
big way.
and they came in a very big way. I'm very thankful.
And I want to say thanks to my committee, the committee, hard workers. I mean,
Who are your members?
the members of the committee, Cedric Jeffers, the vice president, Shane Googley, treasurer, Gary Coxco, the secretary, Darian Fleming,
Chris Hensley,
the captain of the club,
Joel McEachran, and Doug Lowry,
and Dexter Hazel.
Yeah.
You have some powerful names.
Powerful names.
No wonder so much things happening in
Yes. And we can't say, I don't know the names of the volunteers, and we can't forget our director of the tournament this year, Kevin Edwards, the flowman. Kevin Edwards, he's the director of the tournament this year. And what we did, we start early this year.
Definitely. Yeah.
Like I said, January we started sending out information, and I think that's where a lot of the great success is coming from. And before I leave, if you could allow me, I want to speak to the general public again about walking on the golf course, because I want the people to know that this is for their own safety. Because the golfers, we don't know where the golf ball is going, and the golf balls hit very hard, Just last week or
So
week before,
sometimes he glad man.
right? A gentleman got hit. I just stood there, went to
Wow.
visit him. And luckily for him, the ball didn't hit him flush. You know, it bounced first. And these balls are dangerous. So I'm appealing to the general public to desist from walking on the golf course during the play.
Yeah, that is correct. And they move pretty fast because I remember when I used to goalkeep and wicket keep, I used to help them use them to help me with my reflexes. Throw them on
A wall. That's
and
right.
they come back at great speed, and you move accordingly. And I wish the gentleman all the best and a speedy recovery. Gentlemen, thank you for coming with us here on
you.
Win FM
Thank you.
98.9. Of course, the door is always open. It's not the first time you've been here.
Oh, no, been many times.
Many times, yes. So
Yeah.
we appreciate that. And the best wishes for your St. Kitts and Nevis Johnny Walker Open coming
Thank
up
you.
on the Easter week. Sorry, on
Whit.
the Whit
Whit
weekend,
weekend, yes.
which is the weekend of the
17,
17,
18,
18,
19,
19, 20th of May. And congratulations again and the best wishes.
Thank
you
you,
very
and thanks
much.
for having us.
You've been listening to an interview with Mr. Zeke Percival, president of the St. Kitts Royal Golf Club, and his Darian Fleming, the member of the executive. And we thank them for coming forward and telling us about the St. Kitts and Nevis Johnny Walker Open. Stick and stay. Don't go away. We will be right back for the final few minutes to round up the program, and we're going to wrap up some football, and we're going to touch a bit of basketball, slip it in somewhere in there, the basketball. So thank you for listening so far, but don't go. Please stay. Do you want to know what's happening in sport? Tune into On the Ball, a weekly tour show which is on WinFM 98.9 every Tuesday from 7 to 9 p.m. with me, your host, Troy Biff Mills. We will keep you on the ball with our variety of guests and, of course, your calls, discussing the facts and the stats and sharing your opinions. Get on the ball and stay on the ball by tuning into On the Ball with Troy Biff Mills on WinFM 98.9 every Tuesday night from 7 to 9 p.m. and also on Facebook and YouTube. Be on the ball. Welcome back to On the Ball 98.9. And it has been a wonderful program here this evening. But just before we slip away, let us tell you of the upcoming football games. Today, Tuesday the 30th, we have in the Division 1, Connery Fireball International. They played Fast Cash Saddlers United at the Technical Center at 7 p.m. So that is just about finishing. And tomorrow, Wednesday the 1st, Division 1, Rivers of Living Waters versus Trans Global DB Engineering. And a reminder, all Division 1, most, just about all being played at the Technical Center, 6 p.m. Zoe Brown in the middle, Josh Walters, Renique Bartlett on the lines, and Michaela Dillon Sergio, the fourth official. And Mantab coming up against Jones Group, Sandy Point Technical Center at 8 p.m. Jody Walters, Jaden Rouse, Alexis Joseph, and Shanda Wilkinson. And I have to confirm the position with Jones Group Sandy Point. I'm hearing of some protest being made against them in some match, and I have to confirm if that is actually true, and if it is true, what is the position, how has it affected the points table, if it has affected the points table. On Thursday, May 2nd, we're having a doubleheader, Molyneux versus Security Forces at 6 p.m. Trevester Richards, Tyree Wilkinson, Kenwin Collins, and David Phipps, the officials. And the feature game, 607 Construction Lodge Patriots against KFC Trinity Challengers United, 8 p.m. Reginald Gums, Michaela Ordain, Jaden Rouse, and Kareem Benjamin. And in the premiere, Friday, the one game, 8 p.m. SL Horsford St. Paul's United versus Kellett Garden Hotspurs, Sanchez Bats, Tyree Wilkinson, Jaden Rouse, David Phipps, and the officials, Kendria Tully, the assessor. On Sunday 4th at 7 p.m. at the Nevis Athletic, Hot Springs Bath United versus Rams Village Superstars. And I like the fact that Hot Springs Bath United, they're getting games in Nevis, and not just games, big games. They're coming up against the defending champions, Rams Village Superstars. I really like that and compliment the SKNFA highly for that. At 7 p.m., Hakeem Harvey, Lenoy Paris, Yolinda Warner, Kimbell Ward, the officials, Garfield Virgo, the referee assessor. Saturday 4th, we're having a doubleheader, Development Bank St. Peter's, Flo Forgy, Keon Rockets at 7 p.m. All premiere at Warner Park, most I should say. Reginald Gums, Austin Batt, Johan Newkirk, Shanda Wilkinson, the officials, Kenny Martin, the referee assessor. In the feature game on Sunday, MFCR United Old Road Jets coming up against the extremely struggling Trafalgar South Stars. 5 p.m. Trevester Richards, Mario Parry, Tyra Wilkinson, Jody Walters, the officials, Lloyd Walsh, the referee assessor. And the feature game on Sunday, Honda Newtown United, Seoul Island, Otto Connery at 7 p.m. David Phipps, Jaden Rouse, Jevian Archibald, Sanchez Bass, the officials, and Kendria Tully, the referee assessor. I thank you very much for joining us here at On the Ball at WinFM 98.9. It was indeed my pleasure bringing the program to you, and I thank you for listening, taking time out to be with us. I thank our guests. We had here Dark Brown, and he is the tournament director for the Cool and Smooth T20 cricket tournament that's happening here in St. Kitts. And then we had the Royal St. Christopher Golf Club with Zeke Percival and Mr. Darian Fleming telling us all about the St. Kitts and Nevis, Johnny Walker Black. Sorry, forgive me. Johnny Walker Open. This the Wheat Weekend coming up. 17, is it the 17th, 18th? Yeah, 17, 18, 19, 20th. 17, 18, 19 of May, and the E-Zone Cup in Nevis on the 20th. I encourage everyone to join us again next week, Tuesday, 7 to 9 p.m. and tell your friends and family. And of course, if you have any ideas, any suggestions, you can give me a call or WhatsApp me 668-2055. And we're inviting you to come on board and sponsor us in whole or in part. Sponsor the program, because that will ensure it continues. We don't have a sponsor at the moment. That is something we would really like to happen, because we've been getting a lot of good reviews about the program. I am Troy Mills, your host. Join me again next week. And don't forget the funeral of Adrian Lamb, the late Adrian Lamb, tomorrow at the St. George's Anglican Church. He was a former board member of WinFM, and condolences to his family and friends. As I leave, always be positive in your thoughts, in your words, and in your actions. Have a good night.